This playthrough is rated M for mature.
Hello everyone, this is Dungeon Master and welcome to the world of Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance. Oh, I thought I'd try a different voice and see how it worked, from the old cartoon from the 80s. And if you watched it, it's got a bit of cheese, but I love the old Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. Greetings and salutations, viewers. Vauldemare back here with another Let's Finish This, and it's Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance, like I said earlier, by Wizards of the Coast, and made by, I forgot the Tuque Games or something like that. This is based off Forgotten Realms world of Dungeons & Dragons, which is the most prominent world when there's like settings and modules and stuff based off it, because it's the most popular one, especially since the second edition. And this is based off a series of characters by the books by R.A. Salvatore, or however you pronounce it. Interesting side note, he used to be a bodyguard before he became a bouncer before he became a writer. Interesting note, that's why he knows a bit about, if you read his books, he knows a lot about fighting styles, or setting up fighting scenes and stuff like that, so they tend to be a little bit better on the fight scenes than other books do. But this is about Dritz and his friends, and this is supposed to, well, if this took place in canon, which it really doesn't because they take so many liberties with the lore, it takes place after the Crystal Shard book, and it's supposed to be the fallout of it in the Icewind Dales. So let's start the game, and then we can talk about that as it goes along. So this game is basically a looter shooter, except I guess this would be a hack and shooter. It's supposed to simulate those without the Skinner box tactics of loot crates and stuff like that. There are loot crates in this by, actual loot that you drop, and then you get them at the end of a level. So it simulates it without actually having it, which I guess is a bonus. But there are some issues with this game as I played it, for those who watched my first impressions. If you haven't, well, I'll show you as we play along. When I did the first impressions video, I did this patch free when I first played it, and you can see there was a numerous amount of bugs and glitches and AI distortions and stuff like that. At the time of this video, I'm playing patch 1.04, so I don't know what's on it. I didn't actually look at the patch notes other than it's patched it up. Now, when you play the game, you can choose if you never created a character before, you play the game, and then you, after watching the cutscene, you choose a character. If you create multiple characters, you can go select character here. So I got Dritz Duern, the Drow Ranger. Ranger, Fighter, Barbarian, Acrobat? Archer, even though that's not an actual class. I guess technically, if I remember correctly in the Dritz books, most of the character class, if you had to give character classes to all the characters, they're fighter variants or whatever. Because Dritz is a ranger with the two-sword style. Bruno is a typical sword and board, except I guess in this case sword and axe, but sword and board fighter. Wolfgar is a barbarian with two-handed speciality. And Catti is technically a fighter with the bow speciality. Not a ranger, although she was taught the bow by Dritz when she was a child. Which, the fact that Dritz knew her when she was like a little kid means reading the other books, especially where the relationship goes, seems almost kind of creepy. But anyway, but yeah, each one has their different fighting styles. Bruno is based on this game is mainly a multiplayer game because it's based off the old Dark Alliance game from Baldur's Gate, which by the time this video is out, I might be done with the game. I'm not sure. Or I might be at Chapter 3, the finale. It's hard to say. But that game was a little bit more simple. You could play as one of three characters, and it was couch gaming, where you had to, where you sat with a friend next to you and you played. I don't know if they made online variants later on, but this is supposed to be similar to that, except play online, where you can gather other people. But anyway, Bruner's a tank class, so he's there to basically soak up hits and pull aggro on him. Wolfgar is supposed to be frontline damage, although he can do some variants as well to that. Dritz is more, he's pure, even though he's a ranger, he does act like a rogue. He's pure DPS, and he's all about getting behind people and getting crits, because you get critical hits when you attack people from the back. And then Catti is kind of your ranged fire. She mainly uses a bow and attacks therein, so she's the one that hits from far away to kind of weaken characters before you get into combat. And then during combat, so she's not supposed to be a frontline fighter. So if you're playing solo player, probably not suggested player. It's probably a good idea to play a Bruno if you're playing by yourself, just because he's a little bit beefier. But I've been playing as Dritz the whole time because he's the most iconic character in D&D, next to maybe like Elminster and maybe a few others. He's the one who's got a series of books out, not really the rest of them. And then, so anyway, we're Dritz. Obviously, we're playing as Dritz in this case. Yeah, you can tell with the patch, things run a lot smoother. When I first played it, it was a lot choppier when it came to movement. Probably they, I don't know, patched out some of the camera issues and stuff like that. And then this merchant, I forgot his name already. He's supposed to be a friend of Regis. Regis was supposed to be the 5th member of the Companions of the Dales. And he was the only character that wasn't really a true fighter class. He was a thief. But he's sure not appearing in this game, which is kind of disappointing. Why did they just make Regis the merchant? If they were already lore breaking the game, why not just make Regis the merchant? But whatever. In this game, at the shop, you can manage equipment where you can click on it and either sell your stuff or upgrade it. Or upgrade a lot of stuff to max. This game has standard drops, which is common. Let's see, common, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. Legend, wait for it, dairy. Actually, I've never actually seen that show. I've only known aware of that one line. And you got different ways to beef up your characters, and depending if you can get a certain set bonus, you can get some. Oh yeah, there's this guy talking right now. Yeah, I guess I forgot what he was doing in the books at this time. I know he does leave for a while, but the thing is, this whole game is lore breaking in general, because a lot of this stuff doesn't occur, but that's fine, whatever. They need a game to get multiplayer, and why not use the Companions of the Dales? They seem to be the better, easiest way to do it because they're the most iconic. But anyway, you just have different pieces, and if you can get certain types of pieces together, you can unlock set bonuses, which give you bonuses 3, 5, and 8. When I first played the game, pre-patched, it didn't actually have the 5 pieces option, even though the game said it had 3, 5, and 8. So it was before, weirdly enough, it was before they patched the 5-piece option in there as well, which is funny. I didn't realize that when I was doing the video at the time, because I didn't know that there was a 5-piece option. I just thought it was 3 and 8. But yeah, they just give various bonuses depending on how your playstyle. I guess realistically, the idea would be to have different sets. I'm surprised there isn't an option to. Let me see if I can. Oh wait, no, that pauses it. Let's see how long it takes to pause. Well, that was faster, but pre-patch it took like, I don't know, like 10 seconds to get the pause menu to activate. It was ridiculous. And if we choose the touchpad, we can get to the. Well, I'm supposed to be able to go to my inventory. I wonder if they added sets at this point in the game, or with the patch. No, they have a sorting option, but not sets. I'm kind of surprised they don't. If they're, because the idea is that if you have different sets, you could take characters into certain stages with different abilities. Like, oh, this is my fire resistance build and stuff like that, or this is my backstab build and stuff like that. But they don't have that, so oh well, whatever. And yeah, you can equip abilities. You can get different ones over the course of the game. I guess you can get 4 more, but I haven't seen that on the. Maybe it's under the patches or something like that. No. Oh, and they changed the menu app. Before, moves and feats, or the moves was on the same level as the feats, so you had to buy them on this page here. I can't unlock all the feats because I don't have the. I don't have level 15, so then you can upgrade the Ranger and Hunter, which gives different things. If you play the game normally, you'll probably max this out before you reach the end, if you play through thoroughly. But I'll show you about. Oh, and this one of the interesting things I like about this game, though, is the journal, which you get this if you just beat enemies, and it describes what you're fighting or a general concept of the character. So if you've never played or read any of the Dritz books or anything like that, this will give you an idea of what you're fighting. I think this is one of the cooler monsters, the Undead Beholder. You know, just his cutscenes and stuff like that. So even if the game itself isn't that great, just because of some of the minor issues with it, I do, like the fact that I did take the character designs from actual D&D and made them. Although they changed quite a few that weren't the same as before. Like Verbeeg looked different than I expected. Gnolls look about the same, although they're more spikier than usual. Yeah, Verbeeg. That's not what the original Verbeeg kind of looked like. I guess they wanted to make a Forgotten Realms version of the Verbeeg. They're kind of more unknown enemies of D&D. Most people don't use them. But yeah, these are the companions right there. And then these are some of the bosses you fight. But I'm not going to go over them. But the cool thing is that if you go through the game, you can collect like pictures, reliefs, and stuff like that. And unlike most collectibles where you just collect it just to get a trophy, this actually gives you stuff while doing it. Like it gives you like history of the world, or what certain characters were doing before this, or how they came about, or just just to explain what's going on in the world for those who care about this stuff. Here you go, and that's from the tomes and tablets, kind of talking about that stuff. So that I like that part at least. For those who want to know more about this world and maybe want to play D&D or read the books or anything like that, a way to get you in. Yeah, I'm surprised. Maybe make a note to the game designers to add if you want to. Yeah, although I've heard this game's been getting pretty bad reviews, so I doubt people are gonna be playing this for very long. But if they do fix it, maybe add a sets option here where you can change, because it looks like you can carry quite a few pieces of armor, up to 60 at least. You can also change the skins, which basically just changes how it looks. So, I mean, I did it because there's a achievement attached to it, but you know, I wouldn't normally mess with that stuff because I don't care about that stuff personally. Upgrade material. This is used to upgrade your equipment. So if you click on something, as you can see, there's an upgrade option with gems and money. If you use upgrade material, this allows you to try and get gems that you may have not gotten a lot. You get these easier if you play higher difficulties, which I'll show. And then upgrade usables. These are just things you can use during combat.
See you around.
The main thing I've noticed on usables, well, there's multiple different ones. There's, oops, I don't know why I backed out of it.
What do you need?
There's healing potions, which is obvious. Stamina in this game, when you use abilities, you have a stamina bar that goes down, and you have to wait for it to charge back up. If you need it quickly, or during a fight, during an area, you can actually end up losing stamina permanently. Well, permanently on the level, unless you use a potion or rest, or the enemies drop like a crystal that restores it, so that might be good to have. Potion of Heroism, your ultimate meter. This is where you do like a crazy attack that helps, usually does damage or does something to the group of enemies. Alchemist Fire, yeah, you throw this just to get some extra damage. I never found this as effective, but I guess it depends on the situation or the difficulty. Cleansing, this gets rid of debuffs, which is like, you know, weakness and like if you're on fire and stuff like that. Damage resistance, this can be a good one as well, because obviously resist damage a bit. Elemental resistance, almost everything in the game, except maybe at the very beginning of the game has like an element like ice, fire, lightning, so this can be useful against bosses, more or less. And concentration, which reduces your cooldown, which is just abilities you use outside of your ultimate meters that can restore naturally. I'll show them off what Dritz can do anyway, so.
Good luck out there.
After you finish an area, you go to the chest box here. After you get all your rewards, you open it up, and then you can grab all this stuff. I have a lot of stuff I can open, but I'm not going to because it's like level 1 and 2, and it's kind of worthless. But actually, the epic one would be worth opening at least. And unfortunately, they have the whole idea where you can, at least it doesn't take forever, as like some loot box things where they have like this grand spectacle that takes forever. Actually, you know, I'll just reveal all of it. Why not? I don't really care about that stuff either. And yeah, we can look at our new items, because I did see an epic necklace. I wonder if it's, nah, it's too low. I was playing some of the areas on the weaker setting just to get through the story, because I was kind of just trying to get to the end for the most part. So, and my power, oh yeah, I have a power meter. But I'll show that off. Well, actually, here it is right here. You see under my level there, there's like sword, shield, like a magic symbol, some type of 5, I forgot what that symbol's actually called. That 5 stone, like I think it's supposed to be elemental or whatever, and then elements with a circle, and then that fist thing. The fist thing is your power. That's your roughly the power of your character overall when it comes to like going to levels, which I'll show you when you go to the map. Each area has like a well, I'll go over it. So we're finally at the final area of the game. We fought in every single boss up to this point. So we fought like, you have to do this one first anyway. These are some Durgar leaders that were taking over, tried to take over the Dwarven Keep in Icewind Dale. The Goblin Shard, the reason it's called Dark Alliance is it's supposed to be multiple people are going for this shard called Krishinabon or whatever. Cinnabon? No. And each group has like a leader. This one is the Goblins. The Verbeeg, you fight the Chef. Oh yeah, and the Goblins, you fight Emperor Hamburg or something like that. Then you fight these crazy cultists that worship the guy who had the Akkar Castle. He's the one who had the shard originally, and then got killed, and then got resurrected again, so you had to fight him as boss. Then you fight the head of the Ice Giants, who I guess once had, Kelvin, who was their leader a while back, used to have the Crystal Shard, and they were just trying to get his power back so they could access the shard again, wherever it is. And then finally, the undead Beholder, Haggadorn or whatever. He is a really dangerous, even on the easy mode, he was actually a pretty dangerous fight because he keeps teleporting and shooting elemental abilities at you, and you're like, oh god. Even on easy mode, I almost died a couple times. I was like, wow. I was surprised, actually, because I thought it was pretty powerful for basic level. So, anyway, we're going to fight the final boss of the game, the Icewind, I guess, or forgot where. Yeah, Icewind, who is a maid of icing death, who dies in the Crystal Shard book, by the help, which is kind of pathetic. He gets killed by a stalagmite, or stalactite, sorry. Or not, well, sorry, an icicle, a big-ass icicle that drops on top of him and kills him because Wolfgar needed, I think he needed it for his hammer. It's been a while since I read that book, but a couple big things happened with that. But anyway, apparently he had a mate, but that never happened in the books. This is another case of lore breaking, which, you know, for me, I think is important, but I guess for the concept of the game, I guess that doesn't matter, but it's a little irksome. So anyway.
When Wolfgar and I slew the white dragon Icing Death, no tears were shed. The beast was a menace. But now, our actions had brought Icing Death's mate, Icewind, back to the Dale to exact her vengeance. Some creatures were serving the dragon, bringing her prisoners in exchange for their own lives. We would root them out and discover from them where Icewind had made her lair.
So, yeah, so I didn't think dragons did the whole kind of standard mate stuff, which I guess not because she was off doing whatever, but yeah, in the books, Icing Death never had a mate, or if he did, it was never talked about. It wasn't an important story feature for the Dritz books in general, so, but anyway. Yeah, you get, wow, this is actually different, the final area, because in the previous areas, actually, this might be a patch update as well, because when I first started it, pre-patch, you can only play up to champion, and then you had to play champion to unlock legend, and so forth. So I don't know if this is because of the final chapter, because I actually didn't check this off screen. So I don't know if this is the final chapter, or if they changed that in the patch, and they just allowed you to choose any of them. And this is the difficulty of the enemies and stuff like that, and what, on the right side, says, like, what the challenge rating is, which is what 5th edition D&D, which is what this is, concept of this is more based off of, even though Dritz's story was based in 2nd edition. But that's how difficult the setting is. And on the right side, it just tells you what the rewards you get. So if you want good drops, you choose, like, you know, the highest, which is, like, you know, champion, stuff like that. But this is one of those you play either if your character's maxed out or if you're in a group. As of right now, if I was playing, I'd probably either do, if I was trying to get a challenge, I'd either play Legend and see how well I fare, which, as a single character, you're almost expected to just, like, die in one hit, depending on how it works. I would normally play on champion, but for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to do hero and kind of get through the game because I want to get to the final bit before within the hour mark, because there's 3 acts we have to go through to get this. So we'll click the select button and start our adventure. Alright, so when we press select, we have to, I guess if we were playing with other players, it'd be like, hey, we gotta go, guys. So, and then as soon as you step on the thing, it sets off the timer. So if they're not there, I mean, they don't have to be there. It just says, hey, we're starting the mission or whatever. So, and I think there's going to be a bit of a, usually the acts, the beginning act and the end act usually has a cutscene on it, but we'll see how, usually before this, like pre-patch, there used to be a description of the mission on the top while it was loading, so maybe they cut that out to reduce loading times or something like that. Although, usually popping an image there doesn't require much. Yeah, the bad thing about this game is there's quite a bit of loading in between episodes, but it is supposed to be one seamless map after it loads, so it doesn't load multiple sections within an area. You choose the act, you play that whole area, and then you go on to the next one. So I guess I understand it, it does take a while, so I guess that's to load all the assets, but what can you do? Maybe it's faster on the PC, but I'm only playing a regular PS4, so I'm not doing like a whatever PS4 Pro or whatever versions they've got, so maybe on those it's faster because they probably have a better SSD, but no, not on the one I have, so oh well.
You filthy pests have taken everything from me. Icing Death, the day, revolt. Your frozen corpses will make fine decorations for Icing Death's tomb.
Well then, apparently she really cared about her mate, which is different from usually most evil dragons kind of don't act like that in D&D. You know, they're kind of like, oh hey, partner, bye, and all that. But apparently she really cared about him, so I guess that changes up things a bit. So, oh yeah, I said I was gonna do the fast method of going through this. So, this is one of those games that unless you have a very specific,
Icewind is out for vengeance, and the Dale's most innocent are being made to suffer for it. This is my fault, and it is up to me to deal with her and those serving her.
I wonder if the AI is any smarter. But this is one of those games that unless you have a specific thing you need to do, you can just skip through certain enemies unless the game specifically says, hey, beat them. Oh, this is new as well. There wasn't these lines there to indicate enemy locations. When I played pre-patch, those weren't there, so this gives an idea of where the enemies are in your location for dodging purposes, which is nice. I'm playing on the easiest mode now just to like get to the final act, and then maybe I'll play it a little bit more difficult, because there is quite a bit of a difference between certain difficulty settings. Let me tell you. I mean, it does matter on obviously what your power level is, because technically I'm at power level 2000. I'm playing one that's like almost half my power level, so it means I'm going to just rake everything to full. So don't just think that the game's easy, because oh, these are gnolls, by the way, I'm killing, and goblins. Didn't fight many gnoll enemies up to this point. I fought like a couple every once in a while. Yeah, the only reason I'm fighting them is because I'm required to, so.
I'll need to defeat those
yeah,
Icewind has working for her, or they will keep offering her anyone they capture.
But anyway, unless the game specifically tells you to kill something, you can just run past encounters, which is nice. Usually most games will... Because most games will require you to... Okay, this one looks like I have to fight every single person. Usually in some maps, you can just skip like whole areas and get through a map in like a couple of minutes to get to the boss. And then I got frozen, so... Yeah, I'm just damn. Wow. Oh, I'm almost dead, actually. Huh. Well, give the game credit for almost killing me already. So I use my ultimate then. I thought it was Windwyver or something like that, not Winnever. Anyway, that's his panther he can summon. He got it in... Oh, I can't. I guess I'll have to fight someone else. Yeah, even being easy, man. I'm kind of surprised these guys are taking a little bit longer to kill. Probably because me getting frozen didn't help, yeah. I don't have... This character build, unfortunately, doesn't have very good damage resistance, or elemental resistance, because I didn't turn up my... I think it's Wisdom that improves resistance to that, or whatever? And it might be... Oh, I turned on my... blades or whatever it's called, where they just... How did I turn on my vampirism? Oh, I died. Okay then. Well then, I guess this final area is more difficult than I thought. Either that or they fixed the enemy AI, because when I first played the game, on my first impressions before patch, like the AI would just like stand there and let you just wail on them. At least with the patch, they fixed it. They made it more aggressive. So, which is nice. So they fixed that at least.
Is out for vengeance.
But I do... oh yeah, if you die and you don't reach a checkpoint, you have to go all the way back to the beginning. So keep that in mind as well. If I get to a part where I can show you, there's a thing called rest points where you can either improve your loot drops or your... whoops. Ah, crap. Dang it. I was hoping not to get stuck in the ice before the warmth ran off. Okay, so I'm not playing this as smart as I usually would because I just wanted to rush through this. So, yeah, now I'm slowed because I was in the ice. So. Oh yeah, this game has like trap set areas. So if you want to get certain treasures and stuff like that, you would
This one will take some effort.
Oh yeah, you don't, and luckily you don't have to redo it. That area if you did a certain mission objective, you don't have to redo it again when you die. You do have to fight the enemies again if you went back to the area, because they respawn when you die. So. I gotta not fight that guy. Yeah. Oh man, I'm getting really unlucky with these like ice attacks. Yeah, I'll give the game credit. It's Yeah, turn on vampirism so I can get some healing without having to use a potion. Man, they are really smacking with those ice spells. I keep trying to... Yeah, you gotta really be paying attention. I guess I'm so used to the pre-patch that this is actually surprising to me. So I didn't decide to patch until like right at the last second, just so I could get a different experience. So. Oh yeah, here's the short rest. So you can either get a checkpoint to come back here later if I die.
We'll have our vengeance soon. I can smell these murderers coming.
Huh. But you can either take a short rest, which gives you a checkpoint, yeah, refills usables, but you lose a bonus, loot bonus. The loot bonus is just to get better drops. So, we'll see if we can get better drops. But okay, then I need to do whatever this time. Oh, there's also optional objectives, which if I remember, they give you either a little bit more money or experience if you do them. Not required, but oh yeah, if you destroy these like gem things, you can get gems for upgrading later. That's pretty much all the gems are used for, is upgrading your equipment. Which, depending on how you play and what you drop, you might end up not having a certain piece of equipment for very long if you're trying to go for maximum efficiency. So. But luckily I don't have to fight these guys again, because I've already did the initial objective the first time through, so. But it does show as if I should fight them because of those arrows that are on them, so. Oh, I should have gone back the other way. Nope. Well, I'll grab this. Maybe I can unlock a side area if I grab this barrel. Because there's a lot of, like, treasures that are hidden, as well as tomes and stuff like that, so if you want to try and get a, what's that? Guess maybe I do have to keep going. Oh, let's go through here. No? Okay, no, this is the way to go. Okay. Yeah, this is one of those places which tries to be like a typical dungeon where you fight enemies, but then you also have to avoid like traps and stuff like that. Might have to heal, so we'll play this a bit smarter this time. So what I need to do is I need to take out the I need to take out the wizards first, because they're the things that are giving me most trouble. Oh yeah, and these things silence your abilities to do like spells or whatever. Although no one in the group is a spellcaster, so technically it's to use their abilities. So those like little gems right there silence my ability to use my cooldowns or whatever. So you just have to kill them. And then these heavy units, the ones that block, you just use heavy attacks on them to reduce the. Yep, another arrow. There around here. Okay, so yeah, we got another short rest.
The leader of Icewind's minions must be dealt with before I can proceed safely to Icewind's lair.
Haven't I done most of the killed most of the leaders though? Actually, I think I killed all the leaders. And here's random chests you can find. A lot of times they'll give you just gold, and they'll give you a reusable depending on what it is. But sometimes they'll give you like a piece of equipment too. So anyway, let's activate this. Let's see. Okay, so we don't have to do this. Insert. I think because it looks like was there multiple ones? I thought I saw multiple inserts for. Okay, there's 2 different ones. Anything actually in there? Oh, it's nothing. Well, that was pointless. So what was in the other one? Well, anyway, I'm just gonna skip it. But probably could find multiple barrels to open up multiple ones to see, but there's nothing inside of it. Yeah, sure. I don't know why I'm doing this. I was just trying to rush through the level. So, but it looks like this one level is requiring me to actually run through or fight a lot of things. So, like I said, most areas don't require me to fight stuff, so this is kind of surprising. Usually you can just like run on through and boom. Break on through to the other side. Break on through. Actually, I probably could skip these guys too. But I made it a little bit easier. So, but yeah, I could easily go to like, you know, side areas and find treasure and stuff like that. But maybe I do have to beat these guys too. These are wraiths, I believe. Hey, those barrels actually do more damage. In the pre-patch version, they did like almost no damage to enemies, so there's almost no point in using barrels to weaken enemies. You're like, that was pointless. I got crazy. That's a debuff where it just does constant damage to you. I'm just trying to fix these guys. I'll figure out where I need to go. But yeah, it's a debuff that lasts for. If I had the if I had that debuff potion, which I could have equipped it, but the thing is, well, I guess I could have equipped it for this since I was trying to avoid most encounters. The idea for me not equipping most potions was chests that drop reusables will only drop. Well, they'll drop what's in your inventory. So if you've got like 4 potions, it'll randomly drop 4 different ones, but it won't drop all of them, at least in the pre-patch. I guess that might be different with the patch version of it, but in the original pre-patch version, it would sometimes keep dropping everything but heal potions, which is what I needed. So I decided to, well, if I just have less potions, I'll guarantee more of a specific drop. Although, weirdly enough, I would still get healing potions seem to be a low priority, because I swear, like half the time I'd get like everything other than healing potions. Even with just 2 potions. I almost consider playing certain sections with just healing potions, and that's it. So, yeah, being frozen is a really annoying debilitation. I don't think you can use potions while you're frozen. I think you have to wait until you break out of it. Yeah. Looks like you're weak, so I can... Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Dang it. Sometimes it's R1, sometimes it's R2, but if you hit them, you automatically crit them, and you may kill them when you do that, when they get tired like that or whatever. But yeah, usually this game takes a lot longer because I'd be exploring like every area, trying to get all the treasures and tombs. But I'm just trying to get to the end. So I wanted to just show what the final act of the game was like by just kind of going through it and then showing the final boss, which is the dragon, which makes sense. It's Dungeon the Dragon, so you know, the dragon should be a final boss, or at least one of the final bosses anyway. Yeah, we'll set Gwenwyver out. I'm gonna say Gwenwyver, even though usually modern day voice actors usually are more aware of like how to pronounce stuff, but I don't know, I just remember Gwenwyver. Oh yeah, and this game has like a really dickish thing called knockdown damage, which means if you're knocked down, you still get hurt, even though most games would have invincibility spheres, but for whatever reason this game doesn't, which is really annoying. I found out, like, I was like, well, I'm on the ground, at least I won't get hurt, and then they would hit me on the ground. I'm like, what? You don't even have invincibility spheres? What's wrong with you? All fighting games have invincibility spheres when you get knocked out. Right, this is an ability where the Verbeek try to pull you in. Kind of reminds me of, was it his name Warthog or whatever from Overwatch? And weird enough, I've never actually played Overwatch. I'm just aware of it. But he has that hook thing to grab people with. Did I not kill it? Oh, there's a guy who's still alive. Alright, come on, die already. Right. And then let's just activate that.
The leader of Icewind
we'll just
must be dealt with before I can proceed safely to Icewind's lair.
I already did that, so I guess there are still some minor issues with checkpoints activating or picking up properly. Sometimes they'll take a few minutes or they won't reset properly, so I guess it's still a minor issue. I'll give them credit. They did patch out a lot of issues with the game, with the recent one. Not everything, but a lot of it. So I'll give the game makers credit for a game that was judged so harshly. Which, well, I'll probably talk about that during the credits or something like that when I get to it. All right, more enemies. Obviously, if I was playing hard mode, I'd be playing this a bit different. Oh, they actually added with the patch, they actually, well, I don't know if it was this recent patch. I'm just talking about what it was out of the box patch. When I originally did it, when the Verbeek punched the ground, it didn't tell me what their range of damage or where their sphere was, like where they hit when they did that attack. It would just hit, and there wouldn't be like a notice of like, oh, this is what area it hits, you know, to try and avoid it. Because when he punched the ground, it showed like a little red circle around him, which meant that's what he would have hit and whatever damage it was. So yeah, see, that wasn't there before. At least I didn't see it. So that's at least nice to try and find ways to avoid it. Because there were so many times when I played pre-patched, like I would just get damaged all of a sudden by something. I'm like, how did I get damaged? I wasn't even in the area. Or I'd dodge an attack and I'd still get hit. Which I hope they fixed the hitboxes on the patch, because that was a really big problem. Despite the AI being increasingly stupid in the pre-patch, it was still annoying to die from like, or start taking damage from something you clearly know you blocked or dodged. Oh yeah, and as you can see here, if I attack the guy from the back, he automatically gets crit. If you attack him from the front, he can still get crit, but it's not guaranteed. There's a lower chance. And yeah, Drift's big thing is attacking dudes from the back. You can't block in this game. I'll show that off here in a second. But, oh, I guess I must have been in the middle of something. I didn't get hit by the. Okay, I got hit by that one. Yeah, these guys are kind of annoying because just because of how beefy they are. They have a lot of HP. Them and giant characters and stuff like that. Oh, there is a way to lock onto this. I'm still not a fan of this just because of the way the camera works. I mean, the unlocking part's fine. It's just the camera angle really, like, it's too close for me. It's like it needs to back up just a little bit or something. I probably should have make a short rest at some point just because if I die by accident, I don't want to have to get, I would have to run all the way back, but that's the risk you take by doing that. So, alright, where do I go now? Okay. Yeah, blocking is L1 in this game, although I think you can slightly change where it is. Light attack is R1, heavy attack is R2. If you want to strafe and focus without like locking on, you can do this, but I still think it's too close, but maybe that's just my eyesight or something like that. If you hold down the L3 button, Dritzel or whoever your characters will run. R3 I think is just camera. I don't think pressing it down does anything. This is the warp feature right here when you get to swords. All it does is just, if you're running across icicles, it prevents you from getting slowed and taking damage. See, like what I'm doing here. Just pay attention to that little symbol up in the top where that little arrows or little line's going down. Otherwise, when it goes down, you don't have warmth, and then if you go into ice, you'll freeze and take damage, and it'll hurt. It'll hurt. Okay, this must be the boss of this area. Narf 12 Fingers. Is that Goblin? Yep, Goblin, but he's got a Verbeeg ally. The interesting thing about bosses, as long as you kill them, the fight ends. Oh, fight bit of damage there. I think I locked Nerf into the into his. Can I actually get in there? Oh, I can. Huh, the AI will still let me isolate the boss like really easily. Usually they'll either close off areas like this or the enemy will follow me, but I think they're restricted because I don't think they're allowed to come in here. So I can just isolate the boss and just wreck him. So, and because it's a magic-based boss, he's a little bit easier. Oh, nope, they're getting in. Okay, cool. Gotta give the game credit for let's activate my abilities. That'll actually do damage to them. And I can focus on the boss. There's actually an achievement for, I think, getting 200 hits. I've gotten like 150 or something like that, but probably on higher difficulties with more HP. But anyway, yeah, we beat Narf 12 Fingers, so I don't know who that is. That's just some enemy for the game. Kind of reminds me of Shadow of Mordor. But I wonder, let's see how long it takes to tally and go through that, because pre-patch tallying took forever to go through. Like because it has to go through like all these menus, and I'd just sit here and go watch a video or something like that while I was waiting for it to tally stuff because it took so long. You know, yeah, I died once, but you know, yeah, executions are those things when you when they're stunned and everything. But I pressed the wrong button when I was doing that, so. Oh, they added that. That wasn't there before. Top companion. But I'm the only companion, so yeah. Actually, area took me longer than I expected to finish. I just looked at my clock and it took me like 20 minutes or something like that to do that. Wow. I thought I got through that a lot faster. I might have to rush through the last little bit of the game. I might just choose easy mode for the final little bit. So that didn't take as long, but man, I swear some tally screens pre-patch were just like, I was just looking at my watch going, are we done yet? Like, I don't care about all these stats. Like, all the stats is meaningless to me, you know, because I know what's important in a game and all these like numbers and stuff like that, and I know what they mean, but for me it's not important. I'm looking through all these, like, all this stuff. I'm like, I know what I got throughout the adventure. You don't have to tell me again, you know, because I'm just gonna get the treasure at the loot. So even if I didn't see what that was, I'll be like, well, I'll just see on the loot counter or something. So I don't know. Seems like this game has a lot of unnecessary stuff. I think it's because it's based off, you know, hack looter shooters type of stuff, which does the same thing, which I You know, it's supposed to sparkle and shower you with all this like good-looking stuff. It's like, ooh, ah, look what you did. So, let's spin that level. Oh yeah, levels are strength is basically, it says like right there what it does, but there's a little menu here that actually tells you what it does. Because if you see this and you just see all those numbers, you're like, what does that even mean? Now this, I was talking about how like word numbers, like how it just throws on the screen, those don't matter. Well, this one it kind of does, because then you're kind of paying attention to what it does, like physical damage. The tribute part, I'm not too sure what that means, but the armor, like strength raises your armor a bit, and your physical damage. Dex already did that, but that raised your critical chance and critical damage. There's also a feat that Dritz get where his Dex is added to his armor modifier, make it harder for him to take hits if he's got high Dex. That's why I maxed out Dex. Con is stamina and stamina regeneration, as well as hit points. Intelligence is elemental damage and condition penetration. So this is when you're actually doing damage with abilities. Like Dritz says necrotic, even though I don't. Why did they give him necrotic? He never could do that in the books. So like I said, I had to give him something that was elemental. Couldn't that? I mean, it might also count for your weapons, because certain weapons could do elemental damage depending on what you drop. Yeah, you can see how it says cooldown reduction percentage and condition penetration, constitution. Yeah, you see the stamina increase and hit points. Wisdom is elemental resistance to damage. Yeah, this is why I take so much damage from ice, because I'm low wisdom. So realistically, I probably would have raised all my stats about 10 each and then chosen a stat, but I was trying to mid-max myself. So, but yeah, that shows condition resistance right there. And then charisma increases the charge rate of your ultimate and the radius of it, if it's one of those abilities like Brunor's thing. Yeah. Anyway, I'm just gonna do it on strength, just to. And then I think, yeah, we got a little low equips. I'm not gonna mess with that because I think we're good right now. But yeah, just see all that stuff. We got an extra feat, which I bought in all the most major feat abilities. So let's just get expertise. The reason I didn't do this is because it's like when you get raised, you don't get full HP. But the thing is, I'm not playing with any other players, so this tree was like worthless to me. So that's why I saved it for last. So anyway, so we're done with that. And then you could sell your stuff to the shopkeeper. He does talk while you're sitting there, just to kind of kill the dead space. Oh, I didn't know there was actually a tomb thing right there. Huh. And he'll talk to you and make jokes and stuff like that. Sometimes he says something funny. Other times it's just like, okay, this guy's kind of annoying. So it kind of depends. I'm just going to ignore that because I don't need the rewards. Because I'm playing on easy mode, which is probably going to be worse stuff than I actually have. So anyway, we beat that guy. So on to Act 2.
Icewind had made her lair within the ruined city of Netherhall, atop the broken temple of Othea. Approaching that broken city on the surface would be foolhardy, even if its skies weren't patrolled by a marauding dragon. We would approach from below, making our way through the catacombs under Netherhall, where we would find a key to the temple gates.
Alright, we're just going to do easy again. Like I said, this video is already long enough, and well, it's going to be longer, but and I'm just showing you the gameplay more than the actual difficulty, because it can ramp up. On higher difficulties, enemies will have more HP, or they'll punch harder, and it'll be painful to you, because you'd be surprised how much damage. I mean, you saw the damage I took when I was frozen, hit with that. Think of what would happen at higher levels. I was hit with magic, it one-shot me. Jeez, this is what happens when you have low magic resistance. Which, ironic enough, I think in the books, Dritz would have the highest magic resistance, being a drow, because they're basically raised on magic, you know, for the most part. I mean, yeah, he was raised by a swords master that didn't have magic, but they still have, most drow have innate magic. They can cast fairy fire, which is basically just a thin, like, purple layer that outlines a person's body and makes it easier for them to see. But sometimes they'll freak people out because they'll think they're on fire, even though they can't actually feel it. And then they can also create darkness, which just, what it does, it creates a ball of darkness in an area which you can't see through, even with regular light. You would need, like, magical light to break it. At least in the books and in D&D in general, is how it worked. But weirdly enough, in the stat growth, I think Dritz has, I don't know if he has the lowest magic resistance, but it's definitely low. You know, for what he is, but I guess they didn't want to make Dritz too awesome of a character.
Icewind chose to place her lair within the ruins of a giant god. Their ancient conflict continues, it seems. And I'll have to pass through the catacombs of Netherhall to end it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Dritz does most of the narration. Although if you're on a map with a specific character, they'll talk instead. So it depends if you're playing Brunor or Wolfgar or Catti, they all have lines of dialogue. But in the books, Dritz is the narrator. Well, he's the main character, but he's the narrator. So it makes sense that anything outside of like character interactions in the actual mission, he's the narrator. I'm trying to recall who the narrator is for Dritz. I don't remember the voice actor. I've heard his voice acting multiple. Crap. This is poison. You're supposed to like blow it up basically. But yeah, unfortunately I took unnecessary poison damage because I wasn't paying attention. So okay, I can't run through all the levels. Some levels are trapped. So oh well. But still, you can. Oh, I ran through that poison bit, but luckily it didn't improve my poison at all. So or the poison debuff. So there's that at least. Do I have to fight these guys? Okay. Looks like I can avoid them. Good. For those who want to speedrun areas or just trying to get the completion reward, we've already done all the exploration or whatever. But I do like that because a lot of action games will do the whole invisible wall and you'll have to fight every single encounter. So I like it when there's a possibility of avoiding one if you've already played the level or something like that and you just want to get the reward. So I wonder if that's what they intended it to do, or if that was an accident of game design. Because you do have to fight enemies if the objective says you need to fight enemies. Then you... Oh, whoops, I didn't actually mean to do that. That's one of Dritz's abilities, but actually I pressed the buttons to activate it. Because there are certain moves you can do outside of... okay, it says I do have to defeat these guys. And Dritz does have like different combination attacks, like how you press it, the buttons, whether it be strong, weak, and stuff like that. So it is important to an extent, but I guess we're at the point of the game where all the minions of different bosses are starting to work together for some reason, even though the whole point was they were a... Well, actually, the game is called Dark Alliance, but the thing is the game never like really... It never says at one point, oh, we're forced to work together. The only time you kind of see that is with, like, the goblins working for the Duergar, because it's usually how Duergar work. They usually just take slaves of creatures and force them to work for them or something like that. But, like, all the other characters seem to be having their own agenda. You know, like, they weren't really aligned. I guess the idea was that they were aligned, that they wouldn't initially attack each other to a point. But, I don't know, I never really got the whole they were an alliance. And it was just them against the good guys. It was more like they were just doing their own thing, and the good guys were just taking out piecemeal. Then I guess you could say the same thing about the game I'm playing currently. But that game kind of indicates they are an alliance. They even talk about, like, yeah, they don't perfectly work together. They even mention how, like, oh, well, you know, I don't like working with them, but in this case I'm gonna, you know, do this because we're getting this and this out of this or something like that. But in this game I never really. Oh, is there no? Huh. Usually there's a barrel of some sort. I thought that was the barrel there, but, huh. I guess I'll just have to take the... Oh, that's weird. Usually the game doesn't force poison damage onto you. Oh, I guess I made the jump for it. Whoa. Oh, yeah, those are magical traps. If you stay on them, they'll blow up and do damage. Oh, I have to defeat these guys too. Dang it. Game's forcing me to fight everything. It's almost like this game's a fighting game. But yeah, I do like the fact that the game improved the barrel damage. Because like I said earlier, it only did like 100 damage per... oh yeah, sometimes the Verbi can do like a... one of them can be trap finders, where they just... Or trap placers, where they'll just randomly place traps in the middle of battle. So I'm not sure how he's grabbing this bear of ice or whatever, and throwing it around like, all willy-nilly. Yeah, let's just here, just because those charge a little bit faster than... oh, come on. Yeah, sometimes if I get a combo, I'll sometimes get stuck out of stuck in a combo. I can't. Because I really don't want to lock onto people. I really don't like that angle. It kind of makes me sick. Like, literal sickness. Like, I get motion sickness depending on how fast things move or how close I am to something. It'll really, like, make me ill. So, that's why I can't play first-person shooters for long periods of time, because I get really sick if I play it for too long, so I have to play in the chunks. That's why Doom took me forever to beat when I was recording. Because technically that game can be beaten in like a couple of hours or something like that. But when I was recording that one, I took like weeks to finish that thing because I just couldn't play for very long. I had to keep taking breaks in between. I'd be like, oh god. Anyway, this is Netherese power thing that powers up magical items. Netherese was like an ancient kingdom. In most fantasy worlds, most fantasy places are basically post-apocalyptic worlds when you really think about it, because they're based off societies that used to have a perfect magical world or society and has long since collapsed, and they're at the remnants of that. So yeah, technically the world of Forgotten Realms is a post-apocalyptic world, because there used to be the Netherese Empire, which the history behind that is basically the reason it collapsed is because one powerful wizard, I forgot his name though, it's been forever since I've read the original story behind it, but basically he tried to become a god, and he did. He stole someone's mantle and became a god, but the gods got pissed and destroyed the city, and the guy who became a god basically went off to do godly things in other universes or whatever. I think. I'll have to re-look that up. Maybe he didn't become a god or tried to, and he got the gods pissed because he tried to do it. But anyway, the point is the gods got pissed because someone tried to become a god, and they punished Netherese, and it got destroyed. So, and now that's why there's magic and somewhat bits of magical technology, but it's not where it used to be when the Netherese Empire was around. So, as far as I know, no one's ever really explored that much. It's always in the background of a lot of stories and games, but there's never been a major campaign or a book written about Netherese. You get some reference to it in the Elminster books, because those books take place over thousands of years. Which Elminster is another well-known character in Forgotten Realms, but that's because he's created by the guy who created Forgotten Realms with Gary Gygax, Ed Greenwood. That's his character. Basically it's his self-insert, but it doesn't. Oh, did I miss the lever? Okay, I must have ran over the objective while I was talking. But yeah, he's a self-insert, but it's fine. The way the game is oh, I need a where's the heat? Oh, there's a fire over there. Where's the heat? Oh, that's right. That doesn't give me worth for whatever reason. There's got to be a candle somewhere around, or not candle. There's got to be like a light source somewhere around here. Maybe I missed it when I was walking past. No, that doesn't give you warmth either. Huh. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Usually there's like a place like right nearby that lets you grab a heat source, so you don't have to take the. Yeah, you take a lot of damage when you run into traps like that on purpose. There's got to be like a heat source somewhere around here that I missed by accident. Oh, there it is over there. Oh wait, no, that's just a. Never mind, those are crystals. Huh. Okay. I mean, I guess I can take the damage. I'd rather not, though. It is a lot of damage. Like, that's a lot of damage. Crap, where is one? There's nothing around. Really? No way. Usually the game doesn't do that. Usually it doesn't make, like, an obvious, like, a thing that's, like, so out of the way it's ridiculous. Wow, that's kind of bad design, actually. That can't be right. There really no heat source anywhere around here that's close by? Like, maybe there's a secret, like, side area that I missed where you can get it. Huh. Okay, whatever. That's dumb. I'll take the damage, but I didn't want to. Alright, whatever. We'll just take it. And you get slowdown, which means you can even take even more damage, so... Alright, fine, whatever. Yeah, unfortunately, until I get a heat source. And yeah, these things don't give you, for whatever reason, these fires don't give you the heat source. It has to be that, like, sword thingy. I guess another piece of maybe poor game design. They should have allowed any fire source to give you that warmth. That didn't have to be just a the magical sword thingy. So anyway, that should open the door. Yep. Okay. Okay, I do it. Mausoleum. Oh, in every mausoleum. Should I activate the? I probably should activate my ultimate so I can just kill all these guys really fast. Well, I guess I'll accept Windwire. I just thought it was Windwaver. It's how it's pronounced. There was an execution, but I think I missed it with the stupid magic user. Yeah, I gotta geek the magic user. Well, what's the first rule? Combat wizard dies first. It is, because the wizard's like one of the most annoying character archetypes in any game setting, just because of their spells. Well, that and archers. But yeah, now that I know the barrels actually do like a ton of damage, I can actually like use them now. I always just activated them just so I wouldn't get caught in them. That was the point of me using like the barrels for the longest. Yeah, those guys, if they get knocked over, sometimes they'll throw up on you and poison you. So, be careful not to get. Oh yeah, here's another barrel. Oh, it's only gonna kill 2 of them. Oh well. As far as I know, it doesn't do that much damage to me. Oh wow, and traps actually do more damage to enemies. When I previously played, it like did almost no damage. It was like, oh, well, pushing enemies into traps didn't matter. So I'm glad they fixed a lot of that stuff, because that was some major oversight in the game. I'm like, really? It like hurts me a lot, but it doesn't hurt the enemies at all? That seems like annoying. Like, I'd rather not mess with it then. Because that's the worst thing you want to have in your game, when there's a feature that no one wants to deal with because it's pointless. You know, you're like, well, I didn't want to do that. So.
Still lies ahead.
If I do end up dying for some reason before the checkpoint, I'll just cut out me going back to that area. The only reason I showed that previous one because it didn't take me that long to get back to it. So, although I don't know why I'm doing the loot stuff, I'm not here for the drops. So I don't know. Maybe next time I'll just get a short rest just because. Because if I'm gonna worry about drops, I'm gonna just do it on a file where or on a difficulty setting where I'm actually wanting to get those. But I don't know if I'll really mess with that after I beat the game. I'm not really the biggest fan of these looter hackers or whatever. So, and the great thing is, because I got to this point, if I die, it'll just pop me back to the boss, so I don't have to do that all over again. Looks like the enemy AI is still a little ineffective because it'll still like won't immediately all attack me, which I guess is good, but. Because that giant should have been attacking me the whole time. I guess I do like some of the bosses that have like the traps in the middle of them, so it makes it a little bit easier than just hacking and slashing. You're like, oh, I better be wary about the foot placement and stuff like that. But I assume these judges like maybe heal the boss or something like that, so that's probably why I need to. Better send the vampires too. Just so if I take damage, I can heal it. I better get to so I can actually fight him in the ice. Good thing he doesn't get healed in the ice. I understand why he does not take damage in the ice, because he's an ice giant. If I remember correctly, or frost giant, sorry. I believe they're immune to ice, to like frost effects and ice in general. So, yeah, let's activate this since he's almost dead anyway. Bjorn, the hewer of the judge. Nope, he's dead. Like I said, I am playing easy, so. Although I do have equipment that's double the experience level of where I'm supposed to be. Well, not all of it, but I have a bunch of 2s and 3s, and most of them are epics. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them are epics. So. Although I kind of wish I could show you my favorite outfit of Dritz's, which is when he's in his Pewaffy, which is that like green cloak that shows during the cutscene. I'm not really a big fan of the half cloak thing. Even though realistically in combat having a cape would be a really bad idea because people could pull on it, but somehow in the books it never occurs to an enemy to pull on his cape. Kind of like Superman, you know? I think it's just because RA wanted to have more dynamic combat scenes than just typical cheap stuff. If you wanted to do cheap stuff, he'd write a book about a thief or something like that. Which well, no. Artemis Contrarier wasn't really a thief, he was an assassin. And now I finally remember his rival, Artemis Contrarier. He was a really, I thought Artemis Contrarier was kind of a cool villain. Although he's more of a, like in the later stories, he became more of a rival than a villain. And then he even got his own series of books, which weren't too bad. He joins up with Jar Axel, who is a drow from the Underdark, the same place as Dritz, except he was a mercenary who just worked for the highest bidder and placated the matron houses against each other for, you know, fun and profit. But after a point, he got kicked out of the Underdark. I think like one of his lieutenants betrayed him, or no, I think he set up to pretend as if he was betrayed just so he could go on adventures, because he was kind of tired of running his organization. So he's like, you know what, you run it for a bit. I'm gonna go have fun, and he ended up finding Artemis and Trary, and they go on a few adventures, which are pretty neat. I would say some of the Dritz books were still better, but I like the idea of following a villain or a villain-ish or a dark hero. Actually, I don't think Artemis does kind of become a hero, but there is. I don't want to spoil the books, but there is a lot of manipulation on the part of other characters outside of Artemis that he becomes a better person. But that's, it's kind of nefarious when you think about it. So, okay. I mean, technically, I could be selling some. I guess I could. Since we're at the final area, I guess I'll go ahead and. Whoops, wrong button. I'll go ahead and equip those potions, since that'll help with the final boss anyway. So, yeah, stamina. Although I haven't really had as much use for stamina as much as I thought. The only time it really helps is if you're fighting every single encounter on a map and then don't rest. That can add up pretty quickly. But even then, so I guess I could get. Oh, unstoppable means you can't be staggered. By the way, it removes debuffs and makes you unstoppable. It just means you don't get staggered by attacks and frozen and stuff like that. That might help against icing or Ice Wing, because she probably can freeze you. So that might be. Or actually the elemental damage might be better. Let's see. Oh no, that's yeah. Oh, they never fixed this, by the way, on the concentration thing, because it's supposed to be that the ability that reduces cooldowns. But it still says it's elemental resistance, but it's not elemental resistance. It's concentration. But anyway, yeah, we'll do resistance. That might make more sense, and the physical resistance will work. So let me. I should have enough gold to max them out. If not, I'll just sell the rest of my treasure. Yeah, 22,000 gold should be pretty quick to do. Yeah, I don't know why they never fixed that, but anyway, okay, let's upgrade that.
Commerce rocks. Good.
Oh no, there's a cooldown resistance. So what's? Oh, the physical damage. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, so yeah, for some reason on the other menu it says resistance, damage, elemental damage resistance on both of these, even though they're different. So, but anyway, and that just improves its how long it lasts and stuff like that. And then physical resistance.
That's a steal.
Steal, huh? Are you stealing my stuff, dude?
Commerce rocks.
Okay, anyway. Yeah, enough money for that, so, okay. Oh, this video is going to be a bit longer, so sorry about that. I probably should have maybe started, or not talk so long at the beginning of the episode, but I just wanted to explain, like, what was going on and everything like that, so. Alright, let's fight the final... Is she really the final boss? Huh. Unless something unlocks as soon as you beat the game. That seems kind of weird that she's the final boss of the game. Huh. Well, I mean, she is a dragon, but you know what I mean. Like, it should have been setting up for something like else. Anyway, let's go to the Tomb of Ice.
No tears. White dragons are simple creatures, but not without cunning. And Icewind was more cunning than most. The dragon was baiting us to fight her on her terms. Not ideal. But if we didn't face her, she would continue to terrorize the Dale. And so we entered the ruined temple of Othea to face the fury of Icewind.
But yeah, we could do the difficulties. I'm not gonna, because of how long the video is, I'm not gonna fight her on like champion, which is probably what I would do for the drops, or maybe even legend. But yeah, we're just gonna do hero. So, because like I said, at this point I don't care about the drops, so, and the different variations on the outfits. I probably could show that, but I, even though I play this game and beat it, I really. For the longest time, I wasn't enjoying it, actually. I was just kind of going through the motions. Probably because I was playing pre-patched. Now that it's patched, it's a bit more tolerable, but even then, it's still... Because the problem I had with pre-patched, it was kind of ran really slow. Like, it just seemed like, for an action game, it seemed really slow as a game. And so they must have fixed that, like, either, like, fixing the frame rate, or either what was on screen was causing slowdown or something like that. Or utilizing the property, so it's a bit more tolerable, so I'll give it that. But even then, I still find it, I don't know, like, I don't think, a lot of people keep saying this like a god-awful game. I don't think it's god-awful. I think it's a 6 out of 10. I think it's a solid, okay game, and that's pretty much it. But it's not something I would come back to regularly, even though I do like the idea of finally being able to play as Dritz and company, because, like, I'm trying to think how many games you can actually play as Dritz. Most games you couldn't. he was usually a side character in them because they didn't want to mess with continuity. The only time you could kind of do that was in Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. You could technically, spoilers for that game, you could technically kill Dritz in the first game if you're an evil character.
Icewind slaughters innocents in my name. This ends with her destruction.
Wait, in
or
your
mine.
name? What? What are you talking about, Dritz? Anyway. But you can actually, if you're an evil line party or just a neutral party that doesn't know better, you can actually kill Dritz in the first game. And he comes back in the second, in Baldur's Gate 2, and he goes, hey, hey, asshole, give me back my stuff. Because you can actually steal Dritz's stuff after you kill him. And he gets resurrected by either his companions or some good Samaritan. Because obviously you can't have Dritz being killed in the continuity of Forgotten Realms. And he comes back, he's like, all right, I'm here for my equipment, dude.
It's been centuries since we've had our way with the Dale, hasn't it? But you're still as captivating as ever. Shh. I'll make those vermin bow at your feet. You'll want for nothing, and neither will I. Once I have your murderers in my jaws.
Yeah, he died in a cave with an icicle in the back, so he shouldn't be here. Okay, whatever. You know, it's like this game wants to utilize the book. Actually, I probably should punch up that elemental resistance. Now I'm here, so same with the physical. I think I can stack those. Yeah, I can stack them. So, yeah, it's like the game wants to use the lore of the books without actually paying attention to the lore of the books. So I don't know how I feel about that. Anyway, we have to defeat a dragon. I assume if I was fighting a more... Oh, I have to activate the ballista? Oh, I am, because, yeah, she became immune. Makes sense that the game would have the final boss have some gimmick attached to it. You can't just, like, hack the crap out of her. Although that would have been funny if that's how I killed her, which I just ran in, because I did quite a bit of damage to her already. Oh, man, of course we had to fight minions during the final boss. And, of course, I popped those potions too early. I don't even think there's potions on the, or treasure chests on this map to refill the potions, so, oh well. Luckily that resistance does help, so, okay. Interact, hit her in the face. Okay, now we can drop down. Yeah, come here, my dear. Time to kill you, because white dragons are evil. Dang it. Alright, well, we'll just wait for... Oh, is she doing that thing where she summons minions to give you her a break so you don't just, like, one-shot the final boss? Uh-oh. Oh, my resistance wore off. That's why. I was like, why did I freeze? It's because my potion wore off, so... Whoops. Yeah, unfortunately, I activated probably too soon. Oh, don't give me this. I can kill her if I just walk right between, like, the right part of her body. I just keep breaking past her. Okay, she's
Where are your murderers?
Oh, I have to. I was about to heal, but then the heal gem popped up, so I just waited. I was gonna activate Vampiric for a second, but I was like, well, I could probably. We'll see how many. Hopefully, it doesn't take me multiple takes. But if she freezes me again, that might suck. And I don't think. Yeah, I have to beat all the minions to activate the ballista. So yeah, but I'm glad I left this on a normal mode instead of a or easy mode instead of normal mode, just to show you the fight in general. She'll be coming around when she comes. She'll be riding 6 white horses when she comes. She'll be riding 6 white horses. Or she'll be riding 6 white horses. She'll be riding 6 white horses when she... Dang it! Well, the potions last for like a minute, so I guess I can't complain too much. But I was like, I activate the potions, like, no! Come back, lady! Come back! I want to kill you! Even though technically fighting a dragon would be really hard because... all they have to do is fly and never fall down, and if you didn't have a ranger or some way to bring her down, you would basically be screwed. Yeah, I think people would beat dragons, I think, fight a stupid version of a dragon, because yeah, all the dragon had to do is fly away, use her ice breath, or his ice breath, or whatever type of dragon you're fighting, and that's it. Like, okay, well, gonna run away now, so I don't have to. Where's the other one? Talking about I guess I will end up being, and I've maxed out these potions too. Like maxed out how many I can carry and stuff like that. So
Get your murderous friend.
you will freeze me. Okay. I mean, your dragon companion tried to kill 10 towns or something like that. That's why Wolfgar and Stritz went after him. And I think also it was part of like something for Wolfgar too. I think like part of an initiation or something like that. But they did just to not have a dragon trying to kill 10 towns, you know, which is the town that this that the Icewind Dale is one of the more well-known towns in Icewind Dale. Although people, despite the books taking place, a couple of the books taking place in Icewind Dale, most people don't remember Icewind Dale too much overall, because most of the more famous settings are Baldur's Gate or Waterdeep or Neverwinter are the more popular locations. Icewind Dale's, there has been a couple of games based on Icewind Dale as well as the books, but I don't know, people don't really talk about Icewind Dale much. Not that it's, I mean, it has some interesting stuff on it. But, okay. Let's just keep smacking her again. I wonder if, like I said, I wonder if we can, if we hit just the right way, we can always bypass her attack animations. And wow, my stamina is pretty good. Usually my stamina wears out pretty fast, so I'm surprised my stamina bar is not depleting as quickly. Okay. Yeah, I guess we just have to keep reading it. So this fight's taking longer than it should have. But I don't mind it too, playing. Although I think they should have set a minimum amount of, like, only having so many ballistas. I think there's more than just one. I feel like there's only like 2 ballistas. Oh, I have to be careful that she doesn't freeze me again, because that'll do like a lot of damage to me. Yeah, I could use the potion, but I'm gonna wait. I might activate. Well, I would activate Vampiric and everything, but I'm not sure what her final form will be, where I can just kill her without having to worry about ballistas anymore. I better go, just in case. I can't finish these guys off, or can't get the ballista until I finish them off. I guess technically it would take a bit to use, pulling the lever on a ballista is a little bit more difficult, so you can't be fighting dudes while. I think she has different dialogue if you play as either like Bruno or whatever. I don't know who has. Okay, you want to just come down here, dude? Dude. At least our ice isn't. Sometimes, like before patch, the sometimes enemy abilities would go through walls and stuff like that, which was kind of annoying. There we go. Finally. Okay. This is gonna be like the last, like, final version of her. I can probably finish her off. Are you gonna fly away again? Yep. Actually, I'm kind of surprised for the final fight they don't have more enemies than just goblins. Oh, and yeah, the way enemies spawn, they spawn from those like little trapdoors or whatever. I don't know. I almost say that's kind of lazy, because that's. I mean, at least they give a reason of how they appear instead of just appearing out of nowhere. But I'm okay. Conveniently, all these trapdoors appear with like goblins and creatures. Anyway. Because I don't know if she has one more ballista thing kind of on her. Yeah, this is kind of pathetic that I can, even with the patch, I can kind of just, if I attack her from the side, she'll never hit me, you know. Okay, cool.
That is how it ended. We had bled for the Dale, struck fear into the hearts of those who sought Kryn Shinabon, and broken its dark alliance. There were none left brave enough to answer the call, knowing who they would have to face to claim it. We, 4 companions. I look back on those days, And remember how the bonds of friendship were forged through battle. The strength of our companionship had silenced the Shard, and shown us that together, we could overcome anything.
So, power of the friendship, basically. So, yeah. The end of the game. I think there's a credits we can choose, because I don't think the game actually goes into a credits menu, other than we beat the game. The thing I do like about like the idea of Dritz and just the world, at least this world, is that Dritz isn't like this typical sanctimonious hero. Like, he's a good guy, but he's all about like, dude, if you're evil, I will kill you. Like, he's not like, you know, he's not like how some good characters are like, oh man, too bad we kill these creatures or whatever. You know, like, no, like Dritz is kind of good. He's vengeful. Like, if these goblins or creatures kill dwarves and all these other goodly creatures, he will murder them, like in the books. Like, I mean, he's not like an anti-hero. He's still a good guy, but man, he's one of those heroes that's a lot more, you know, unforgiving to enemies of good. You know, that type of guy. So he's a lot different than other heroes are, who are just like, oh, I'm perfectly good and all this other stuff, and you know, I don't want to kill unnecessarily. But no, it's D&D. Like, goblins are evil, and you know, Durgar are evil, orcs are evil. You know. Like, it's clearly, in this world, there are gods of evil that created races of evil to do evil. That's how it is. There might be a few exceptions, but that's the general idea behind it. So, but yeah, I guess we can look over the credits, because I don't think it pops towards the credits. I think it just goes back to the main menu where we can do the missions all over again. So, I mean, at least I had a cinematic in where it's like, oh, we work together. Now, I haven't played with other players, but as far as I'm aware of, I don't think there's any extra dialogue between like other classes, like Brunor and Dritz talking to each other during a mission. I think it's the only person who talks is who's ever the leader, and that's it. Now, I'll have to double check this, but that's kind of, if that's the case, that is kind of a little disappointing that there's no inter-city banter or dialogue. Yeah, this is the trophy where you can look at all the villains. We killed Icewind, Queen of Storms. Icewind came to avenge the death of her mate, Icing Death, at our hands. Who knew the strength of love could pierce the frigid heart of white dragons? Yeah, I know, I'm kind of surprised. Usually dragons aren't like that. Or evil dragons, anyway. Or even good dragons, because they live so long. So usually, if they mate, it's like for a bit, and then they kind of go in their own way. They're like, oh, you know, we'll see each other again in a couple hundred years, you know, type of thing. Yeah, Haggadorn the Dreamer. In their paranoid dreams, beholders dream up the existence of other beholder rivals, and those rivals manifest. Haggadorn tried to harness the power to manifest himself his own crystal shard. Ooh, that would have been dangerous. The Mask of Kelvin. Uthar hoped the Mask of Kelvin would help prove himself worthy of the shard, but the mask he found was a very different kind. It basically possessed him with Kelvin. Yeah, the chef one was kind of messed up, because when you fight him, he's boiling dwarf heads and stuff like that. But this game is rated M, so. Emperor Hamburg. He was kind of annoying, because you just had to fight like some of his generals to unleash an impenetrable barrier and magic, and then you fought him. And because Dritz is weak to magic, it seemed like I was almost getting one shot every time I fought him, even on the easy mode. It was really annoying because of the weight. It was hard to avoid some of his magic attacks. And Aikar Kessel, this is his revived form. The guy who originally summoned Krishnabon, or didn't summon him, he found Krishnabon in the book, and he became this all-powerful wizard because of the shard, but he got beat by Dritz and company. And then I forgot what happens to him in the book afterwards. I know he doesn't... I know what happens in the game is not what actually happens in the books with him, but I think he does make a reappearance later on. I think he gets captured by the Drow, actually, at one point, I think. Or maybe it was orcs. Something like that. I'll have to look that up again. But yeah, he didn't get turned into like an undead lich or whatever creature. So they made that up for the game. I wonder if they even talked to Salvatore. Looks like there's a couple of extra bosses. I wonder if that's DLC for the game. Let me see if there's any other maps that pop up before we do the credits. No, nothing else. So yeah, there's 3 more treasure. Maybe that's if you find, maybe if you beat all the secret not mini bosses, like secret like objectives or something like that. Because yeah, there should be room for 3 more. I'm thinking that's DLC, but at the time of this recording, that is not available. If they even make DLC for it anyway. So, all right. So before we call it, there should be. Shouldn't there be a credits option somewhere? See if I can.
What Regis is thinking about right now. Maybe me.
Not seeing a credits. Yeah, there's a journal. I don't think the main menu has the credits scene or anything like that. Let me try. It automatically saves after you finish an adventure, so you don't have to worry about losing anything if I quit to the main menu. If there's no credits thing, that's kind of a major oversight for the game, because most games have a credits button somewhere, either on the main menu or somewhere, just to show who made the game. Otherwise, I can't really have an appropriate end to the let's finish this if I can't get a credit scene. So far, I like playing as Dritz the most out of all the characters. Catti-brie's kind of interesting, but she's better if you're playing with multiple players. Wulfgar's not bad if you're playing by yourself, just because of his abilities and how much damage he can output. Brunar's good if you're playing a tank and you want to play by yourself and don't want to take too much damage. There we go. There's the credits. Okay, so yeah, that's the end of, I mean, at least of the current version of the game of Baldur's Gate. Well, this isn't it's just Dark Alliance, which Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance. Overall, the game is okay. Like I said before, it's not like this terrible, like 1 out of 10, although I don't think anyone ever rated it, but people were pretty harsh on this game. I give this game a 6 out of 10. I think it's a decent hack and slash game with multiplayer aspects. I didn't deal with any of the multiplayer stuff because I'm a forever lone troll. No, I just like playing games by myself. I just have more enjoyment out of that. But it seemed like a decent hack and slash game. I mean, obviously the idea is to get multiple people to play, and you can play as different characters and then start online games, summon groups and stuff like that to fight the groups, and then there is sort of replay value because you can try to get better gear, and you can replay the same maps but with stronger opponents, which really all that difficulty does is it makes them punch harder and gives them more HP, so they start becoming HP sponges after a while. Unfortunately, the higher difficulty does not change their AI script at all, as far as I'm aware of. So that's the problem. A lot of games, when they make harder difficulties, all they do is just give them HP, and that's all they do. They never change their... Very rarely does a game ever change AI dialogue when they're on higher difficulties to make them more smart or whatever. So it's like, oh, well, maybe they have the same amount of HP, but they're a little bit more intelligent, so that's where the difficulty comes in. But no, it's just they add HP to them, and that's it. So, oh well. And I did like the fact they used the most famous characters of D&D. Or at least I believe they're the most famous. I mean, if you talk to a random person on the street, they're probably like, what's D&D? But who's the most famous character? And most people probably have heard of Dritz somewhere, because a lot of the Dritz books were New York Times bestsellers, which nowadays that doesn't mean much because of how you can get on the New York bestsellers Times list, because you can just buy a bunch of books from your publisher and say it's the best, or you can pay for those. But I'm not going to get into that because that's something else. But they were on Best Times Seller list when they were actually seemed important at the time. So at least people would be aware of these books and the character. For the most part, I think they got their characterization down. I didn't play too much with the other characters enough to like get their dialogue. The only thing that was weird is during the intro scene where it says Catti-brie, like, she's destined to be a leader. That was never her thing. She always wanted to, like, she was always a free will character. She was even heavily inspired by Dritz, so she eventually wanted to be, you know, like, kind of not a ranger, but she wanted to have that lifestyle that Dritz had, where he was kind of, he helped the dwarves, but he kind of, you know, lived out in the wild and kind of just was a free spirit. That's what she wanted. Destined to be a leader. I don't know where they got that crap from. That is not how that was in the books at all. She never wanted to be a leader of the dwarves. She wanted to help her dad, her adopted dad, because Brunar saved her. I think he saved her from a goblin attack, but unfortunately her parents in her village got killed by goblins, and so he decided to take her in. Wulfgar is also an adopted son of Brunar, the barbarian dude. I think it's because I think most of his tribesmen were killed as well, like his section, but his tribe is still around. It's just the area he was in was also killed, but I forgot by who or what. He was also adopted by Brunar, but eventually Wulfgar became leader of his tribe. I forgot what the elk or something like that. It's been forever since I've read the books, but that was like later in the books when he became leader of the tribes. Catti-brie and Wulfgar were a thing for a while too, but then she secretly pined for Dritz, which, yeah, okay, I guess it's one of the books for now, which I think is really creepy because Dritz had been around since she was a kid, and I think that's even Dritz knew that too. Which eventually, at some point in the book, they do get together, but not for very long before something happens. I don't want to spoil that too because it is kind of sad if you were with these characters for so long. But it was kind of creepy. Like, I was like, when they got together, I was like, ew. Dritz knew her since she was like 6. Gross. I don't know. That's how I felt anyway. When I read it, I was like, ugh. But I guess that's the whole forbidden romance type of thing. So, but anyway, so there were some characterization weirdness every once in a while. I didn't like the character designs for like Wolfgar and Cadbury, mainly because I'm basing it off the art book of the original Crystal Shard and some of the early artwork that they did for those books. So I always saw Wolfgar as having long blonde hair, having a horn helmet like a Viking. Well, not like a real Viking. You know what I mean? Like a fictional version of a Viking. And I think his hammer is supposed to be single. I don't think his hammer is two-handed, but I could be wrong. I'll have to look that up again. I could have swore it's a one-handed hammer that was powered up, and it's because it's a returning hammer like Thor's Mjolnir. So he should be able to like throw the hammer and have it returned to him. That's the whole point of his ability. But they gave him a two-handed hammer, and it doesn't do the return ability. At least I don't remember doing that. Maybe it does. At later you can upgrade his hammer to do that, but that's how it was in the books. Dritz is pretty close to how he is actually in the books, probably because they had a lot of material to work with. But I don't know. I'm not seeing here. I didn't see any consultation by Salvatore, so I don't know if they actually got consultation on, or if even Salvatore works with Wizards of the Coast anymore and makes books anymore. I think he still does, but I haven't really looked up on that. So I assume they would have gotten some input from him because that was his character created for him. But for the most part, it seemed like Dritz was pretty on point with how his attitude and talking to himself and everything like that attitude is. Let me see what else about the... but the story was fine. It was just basically just kill all these generals and stuff like that. But like I said, they took a lot of lore. They didn't really follow the books, which I guess they couldn't if they wanted to do the story. But I think they could have figured a way to make it work with being lore inclusive. But whatever. It's you know, it's supposed to be just a game to like get people to play together and recognize the Wizard of the Coast brand. I'm trying to think what else to say about the game. So, but I thought some of the bosses and encounters were kind of neat. Too bad, you know, at least at the time of this recording, you can kind of almost not glitch out, but you can kind of like figure out the patterns of the boss, which I guess is what you're supposed to do. But I don't know. It seemed like it was really easy to kind of figure out how to take no damage from some of the characters. Like the final dragon, because of the way she was turning it, I could easily just keep going around her and attacking her and then finish her off. Like, how many times did she only actively hit me because I wasn't doing what I was doing. When I stopped doing that, she hit me. But if I kept doing what I would have done, she probably would have never hit me at all, which is kind of pathetic for the final boss. But so yeah, not much to the story itself other than just attacking bosses that are trying to find the crystal shard. And like I said, the combat play for the hack and slash was okay. There was like different combos. Oh, okay. So they did get Salvatore in as, I think Gino's his son, I think. So they did get it. Okay, that's cool. I appreciate that they actually got Salvatore to help write. He did make all those characters. So, and some of the bosses, because like Acker Kessel and stuff like that. So that's good. I appreciate that I hope they actually did. Because sometimes in credits they'll say they actually got help, but then they didn't actually do it. It's just supposed to be for legal reasons or something like that. But I'm glad that that's there. I assume that means they actually asked them for assistance for some of the bits and pieces. But yeah, I mean, the game does have different combos and moves you can unlock over the course of the game with different abilities, so you can customize your character. Kind of like most, I wasn't even looking at the voice talent stuff. Let's see. I guess they did in Montreal? Or is this the Canadian version of the voices? I wasn't actually paying attention to a lot of the voice acting, so I didn't know if I missed some of the characters. I was trying to see who voiced who. Yeah, different. Man, they had a lot of characters for voices. They usually get one voice actor to voice all of them. Okay, here's the Los Angeles stuff. Andrew, no. Crispin Freeman, that's it. I've heard it. Okay. I was wondering who that was. It's like, Isaac. I'm just seeing if anyone else pops up. Fred Tatascore or whatever. I've heard him before, yeah. Joe Manganiello, I think that seems familiar. Yeah, Fred Tatascore or Tatascore, something like that. Huh. I'm surprised I don't recognize more voices on here. Usually they use a lot of the same voice actors for a lot of stuff, but Fred is and I thought I heard a couple other characters on here. Huh. Well, anyway. I thought the voice acting for the most part was pretty good. No, I didn't really see any faux pas or hear any weirdness that I was aware of over the course. And I thought the music wasn't too bad either. Yeah, it was very atmospheric, like most games of that, but I think it set, for the most part, set much of the music, so there was that. I always said graphically, I thought the game had a lot of great locations that you could go to. Yeah, sometimes depending on how you play, you might just skip a pass a lot of it, and they do use a lot of reused assets in different spots, but for the most part, they were different places we went to, so it wasn't just the same forest or cave every single time. So you gotta give the game credit for that. And like I said, they were actually different bosses. Some of the same enemies we kind of fight over and over again, unfortunately, but that kind of just happens with any game. So yeah, I don't think this game's god awful like people said, but I'll admit it's definitely not this like super awesome game I keep playing over and over again. But I think it was a worthy effort. And like I said, I'd probably give it a 6 total out of 10. I always kind of wish it was more of a focused game than doing like all the other stuff that they try to incorporate other games into it, like the whole loot system and stuff like that. I always kind of wish it was a more focused stuff where it had more guaranteed drops or something like that. But I think the idea was they were basing it off of the old Dark Alliance game, which is the same concept. It was random drops that you just built your character and then and then kept going through the missions. Obviously, there's supposed to be more action focused in the original Baldur's Gate game, but weirdly enough, I like the older Baldur games probably a little bit more than this, which is weird, given that this is better looking and there's a bit more effort into this. Well, effort, that's kind of disingenuous to the original game. What I mean is there seems to be more people working on this than the previous one, but man, I guess this goes to show that just because they throw a lot of people at something, that doesn't mean it's going to work as well as maybe some other games, although I guess you have to nowadays because gaming is crazy big. But I still prefer the old game, although maybe it's because it's nostalgia hit, because there is a lot of problems with the old game, and I'll probably talk about that whenever I beat that game, because by the time this comes out, I probably might be done with it or almost done with it. I'm not sure, because I have to record these sooner, just so I can get these played through quicker as I can. I can't wait forever on these, at least the way I do this setup anyway. But but yeah, it might be nostalgia talking, but I don't know. Maybe it's because this is competing with other looter games similar to this that probably do it better, and it has to. And the fact that, I mean, the one big thing I'll give about this is that there's no pay to win stuff. There's no loot crates that you buy, and there's no like pay to win stuff. So that's already a huge plus in my book, because I really don't like those mechanics, microtransactions and all. At least as far as I'm aware of, they don't have anything like this now. But I've seen a lot of companies add it later under your nose after the reviews come out. But as of right now, there's no Skinner box tactics going on right here. So that already makes it better than a lot of other games out there. So I got to give the game credit for that. So, all right, that's it for the game. So, hello. Oh no, maybe that's DLC. Oh, okay. For a second I thought it was the same video because it looked like it very similar. So I bet that's for the final bits there. And soon means you can, I assume that you'll have to actually pay for that extra content. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe they'll give it to you for free, but I really doubt it. I bet you'll have to pay for that one. So extra content. So I guess there is more, but I probably won't play the game when that comes out because I'm just, sadly, like I said, even though I think the game has some benefits and there are things I like about it, I don't think it's enough for me to come back to it.
Teleportation circle's waiting, and I've got coin to spend.
I can barely hear the guy. I guess I'd be.
Bring me back something.
I guess I'd be right next to him. Yeah, sometimes he does say funny things, but other times it's just kind of like, whatever. So okay, that's it for Baldur. I keep saying Baldur's Gate. That's it for Wizards of the Coast Dark Alliance, and nice efforts. Could use a bit more polishing, especially with some of the AI, and I think it could possibly have something to it, but unfortunately a lot of first impressions kind of turn people off to it, and I understand that. So I wish for the first, like one of the few endeavors with Dritz and company, I wish it had been a better effort. But I'm being disingenuous again. I think there was effort involved. I think there could have been a bit more polish or maybe something involved to make it work a little bit better. But that's it for that. So I hope you enjoyed the game. Hope if you liked the game, it gave you a reason to buy it, or if you didn't like what you saw, it kept you away from it. By the way, I'm done with this and on to the next one. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next game.
Looking good.